Okay, this short video is brought to you by Terry Guardi of Terry Guardi and Company Solicitors, and I'm looking at 9 potential problem areas for schools. Schools have a difficult job in Ireland. They have a lot of legislation, regulations, circular letters and so on to deal with. There are some areas of law in running a school which crop up time and time again though, and which can cause significant problems if not dealt with properly. The first one is employment law. There's a huge volume of employment and equality legislation in Ireland which impacts on schools. Issues that you'll have to deal with will include contracts for employment, appointment procedures, interviewing, advertising for the position, disciplinary procedures, grievance procedures and so on. Health and safety then is another huge area. The Safety, Health and Welfare at Work Act of 2005 places significant obligations on boards of management in relation to employees, pupils, visitors. The question then of a duty of care arises as well in general law, and what duty of care do you owe, for example, to visitors to the school, to people calling to the school to sell you stuff, to parents and so on. Another area that needs to be looked at for schools is the whole question of fire safety and the regulations, fire regulations generally. The Fire Services Act of 1981, which was amended by the Licensing of Indoor Events Act of 2003, is the relevant legislation here. The whole question then of the Code of Conduct is a thorny one for schools. Schools have a statutory obligation to draw up a code of conduct under the Education Welfare Act of 2000. It would deal, or should deal with, your code of conduct should deal with obviously a code of behaviour for pupils, the whole area of suspensions and expulsion as well. Another key area for schools, and one which causes problems regularly, is the whole question of a school admission policy. The Equal Status Acts then of 2000 to 2004 places serious legal obligations on schools in relation to admission policy for pupils. There are some exemptions, for example, in order to maintain the religious ethos of the schools, but by and large you need to be very careful about discriminating against pupils on the basis of one of 9 grounds set out in the Equal Status Acts. Another very, very difficult area for schools is the whole area of child protection. Children First then is the National Child Protection Procedures, and the whole area of the obligations on school in relation to reporting of concerns in this area may well be changing in the not too distant future with new legislation coming in and placing obligations on schools to report to the Guardi, not just the HSE. The whole question then of cyberbullying is a very, very hot issue nowadays. It's an insidious problem, and it's a bullying problem that doesn't stop at the school gates, but it's one that pupils can bring home with them on their mobile phones, or when they go on the internet or go on Facebook or whatever. And that's why it's a particularly insidious form of bullying, unlike traditional bullying, which would have ended when you left the school for the day, back in the day as it were. Cyberbullying is really all pervasive. The whole question then of an internet usage policy, because many schools rightly use the internet for all sorts of reasons, even educational reasons, and an internet usage policy would be highly recommended and ideally should be agreed with the Parents' Council. Data protection then is another area of very, very critical importance for schools. Data protection in relation to pupils and in relation to staff. And I have seen complaints then as well also from parents and indeed visitors to schools looking for data protection or putting in a data protection request in relation to the CCTV cameras which a school might have installed to protect its property, to protect its oil tank, for example, from being emptied and so on. So data protection is another issue that needs to be carefully considered by schools and by schools' boards of management and VEC committees. Then you have the whole area, you have general legal issues, for example negligence, you have defamation, you have alleged defamation by teachers of of parents, and vice versa. You have personal injuries which arise from time to time. You have the difficulty surrounding family law and the right of a parent where a relationship breaks down, or perhaps where the parents were never married, to communication and information from the school in relation to the pupil's progress, parent-teacher meetings, and so on and so forth. My name is Terry Guardi from Terry Guardi and Company Solicitors. I'm based in Enfield, County Meath. You can contact me through the telephone numbers you see on the screen there, or through either of those websites, educationlawireland.com or businessandlegal.ie. Simply use the contact form on either of the websites if you have any issues arising from this. Thank you.